Hey Manny, how are you?
Hey brother, how's it going?
It's good. I can only see your forehead, but that's all good.
Uh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
better.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, good man.
By the way, just this is gonna be recorded, so if you forget like your responses to stuff, you'll get sent it back to you in a Google folder.
Yep.
So don't sweat. I don't think Mohammed will jump in, and Nick is gonna have a separate call. So just so you have context, um, basically, I'm trying not to have people with the same businesses on these calls, just
Hmm.
so there's not that conflict of interest.
Yep.
So going forward, might not be today, but in the next couple of weeks, we'll kind of do these debriefs. It'll be you, Mohammed, who's also from the west of Melbourne. Nick, he's in Sydney, and his business partners in Miami, and probably max 5, 10 people a call.
Hmm.
But yeah, these are all specifically consulting or done with you guys. None of them are done for you. So you're all kind of equal level. Most of the time will be different businesses as well. Um, but thank you again for last Friday, man. That was really cool. That restaurant was dope.
Yeah, no worries, man. Definitely in the future again. So normally in these calls, people just like ask you questions.
Yeah. So like you just kind of ask if you need any help. Do you have any things that you wanted clarity on? How are you finding things so far? It's just kind of a check-in, so I can kind of see how you're tracking, see if I can fill in any holes for you, kind of thing.
All right, so I'm basically setting everything up. I'm working on the website and stuff. I've
Hmm.
narrowed down which services I'm going to do.
Hmm.
So that was my main issue at the start. I was like, which services do I do? Like that was my big roadblock. But now I've kind of overcome that. Um, One question I've got in terms of like the VAs, right? How do you go about like securely allowing them access to your social media accounts? Like, what do you normally do?
Yeah, so this good question. It comes down to trust, bro. Like it depends on your trust tolerance. For me, at this stage, like all of the people that are core to like my agency, they have access to my personal Facebook. Like
Hmm.
social, all my business stuff they have access to, but I haven't given them access to my personal Facebook. But like a good 5 or 10 of them have been working with me now for nearly a year. But again, it depends. You don't even have any participants right now. So perhaps at this level, if everything's from ground zero, there's not really much to lose. That's how I'd see it.
Mm.
Um, but with that, you'll start to figure out which traits you actually favor. Okay, you favor this really diplomatic trait in this VA. The diplomatic ones tend to, okay, work better to manage X, Y, and Z platforms. But the ones that maybe are really, really intelligent, but maybe very disagreeable, maybe those ones you only give admin access because maybe they can be a little bit too unpredictable, etc. So if I was you, would I give them direct access to a Facebook page, Instagram page, the logins? I would. But if you don't want to do that, you can make them admin on Facebook. And when you,
Mm.
because Facebook is the conglomerate of Instagram as well, they
Yep.
can actually just share through Facebook the same content on the Instagram.
Mm.
And they'll show
Well,
you how to do that if you don't know how to do that.
yeah, one idea I had was like, like those social media scheduling things like later and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I know it's not going to be as good as in having direct access, but I thought that's not maybe a bad way to start, at least.
Yeah,
And then maybe once I get to know them a bit, I feel comfortable, then yeah, go that way.
that's fine.
But I think with those ones, like they're good, they don't have direct access, but sometimes I know there's issues like it can unsync or like they might not be able to respond to messages and things like that. How's it work with the Go High level? Like, do your like VAs like respond inside Go High level to like social media?
Yeah, so Go High Level is more for it's more for like look at Go High Level as like a CRM, so a customer
Yeah, yeah,
relationship
yeah.
management tool. So when it comes to specifically social media, no, like at least my VAs, they're
Mm,
not going to be the ones that are going to be trying to message someone back on Instagram from Go High Level. No, they just have direct
mm,
access to the
yeah.
Instagram account. However, with Go High Level, they can respond to emails. So
Mm,
I'm not sure if you've caught up with Anna yet, but what happens is once like your phone call system, JJ probably mentioned it, but once the phone call system's set up, you can buy a phone number for like, $10, $15, $6,
mm,
whatever. And that phone number, you can have a VA call all of like, the NDIS leads that you're going after,
Mhm.
like that you scrape, and then they'll call the leads from that number through Go High Level off their computer.
Yep.
Let's just say that person doesn't pick up the phone. If they now text back that number, they can respond in Go High Level.
So as soon as that person responds, like we mean by like phone, they tried calling back.
They can, whether it's a callback or even a text. So like if I'm texting you back like this, it
Hmm.
will ping to Go High Level, as if it was a regular text on a phone.
Cool. And like all your people who send emails, like do you set them up like their own email addresses and stuff? Like what do you use for that? Do you use like Google Workspace or?
Google Workspace. That's easier because, especially, let's just say by the end of the year, you have, let's just say 10 participants or something.
Mhm.
Um, it's going to be easier if you have 6 or 10 different roles for your VAs and they're all in one workspace instead of using like another Gmail tool. It just adds
Yeah.
friction, in my opinion.
Hmm. And like when you're like starting out, like let's say I know eventually I'll have VAs for everything, but which ones are the key ones? Social media manager, I know for sure. What would
Yeah.
you say is like the next key VA?
Yeah, good question, bro. At your level, I would max it out at 3. Like you're not gonna have to spend like 3 VAs, let's just say on average,
Hmm.
especially with what you're starting from. Like I'll be surprised if you're spending more than $200, $250 a month, especially
Hmm.
because a lot of them are $37 an hour. So social media manager, yep, that's number one. I would get that social media manager though to do all of your social media. Facebook, that's so like you want to pick someone that's really competent. And
Yeah.
Alvi, I talked to Alvi actually yesterday. She's happy to also screen. So after you've interviewed them, she can
Hmm.
screen them for you. Um, but yeah, have them post on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok for you. If you realize that they're really, really good with designs and not so good at YouTube and TikTok, then okay, like maybe bring someone else for that because, like I said, I think we mentioned this a few when we met up in person. The way TikTok works is that one out of every of the first 50 TikToks on a new page, usually one of them will go a little bit viral. That's how the Chinese keep the US on a bit of a hook. That's a different discussion. So like that's what I would do. But yeah, see if you can max it out on one person. The second thing is you want to get someone that ideally has hybrid experience between creating landing pages for you and running ads. So that's what JJ is for me. So he manages not all, but majority of our clients that run ads, whether they're in car, like car, whether people need money for cars, like mortgage, whether people are in the wealth creation niche, whether they're in NDIS, whether they're a restaurant, whether it's a personal brand, he will do the ads 80 to 90% of the time.
Hmm.
And he creates the landing pages because it's kind of a symbiotic thing. Like you create that survey,
Yeah,
you create
yeah.
that contact us form. So that's the second thing. Um, if you wanted the advantage, at this stage, I wouldn't. A salesperson is great, but it's not necessarily what you need right now because you and your uncle can create that rhythm.
Mm.
Um, that's a cool thing to have. Maybe you could discuss with them to pay them by a commission only. Like, hey, per appointment that you generate, you give them 25 USD, something like that. That's what I'm doing for one of our Restaurant Revolution subdivision. We have
Hmm.
someone that's just doing that. But that's not imperative to you
Hmm.
because you want to learn the language. The third thing though that would help is someone that's doing your SEO. And here's why.
Okay.
Um, Long term. Have you caught up with Sandra yet?
Yeah, yeah. I've caught up with everyone. Yeah.
Perfect. SEO is one of those things that you'll have to do at some point.
Mm.
Now, to get a good SEO manager, even on onlinejobs.ph, it's going to be cheaper than Australia or in the US, but it's still going to be probably pricier than you think because it's
Hmm.
a high, high, highly beneficial part to any business.
Cool.
I'm probably by the middle of the year going to be spending 3 or 5 grand a month just in SEO.
Mm.
So I'm psychologically, because I understand that if I'm easy to find on Google, if I get 10 people that are always in the US or Australia, or let's just say Gina Reinhardt, who's like one of Australia's most rich women, multi-billionaire, if she uses one of my companies to do a video for her mining company because she found me
Yeah.
on Google, and it's me versus King Kong, and they say no to, then that's worth way more than the 50, 60 grand I spent on SEO. but it takes time to build. So I would invest into SEO as early as possible.
So like, what are the SEO people doing? Like, I know when you make an update, they need to go, they've got some work to do, but like, do they have like that much work to like stay busy?
Good question. So short answer is it's not busy work, but it's deep thinking work. So it's strategic. So they have to think, all right, what blog articles are going to help Clockwork Care rank highly in this part of Melbourne compared to others that are trying to fight for the same keywords, whether it's NDIS services near me, whether it's the niche that you're going after near me, whether it's the search volume, because each keyword has a certain amount of search volume. So the larger the search volume, for example, to try and rank for digital marketing services right now, dude, that's going to take me like 3-5 years. So I'm going after mega communities, right? I'm going after things that are very niche. That way I can use them. Again, mini communities, mega communities works everywhere. If I have a bunch of smaller keywords that now are ranking for me, now when I'm trying maybe a year from now, again, to really push for digital marketing, that keyword, or I've got a lot of terms that maybe misspellings of digital marketing, misspellings of the word digital, misspellings of the word marketing, mega community. By the time I want to focus on that keyword, it's now easier. So it's more strategic than you think, which is why at this stage, even myself, and I advise to our clients, don't be shy whether you work with us or not to actually spend on SEO, because that's the one thing that will bulletproof you if another, if this the reason I'm going to use the code term here. So if this gets put up on YouTube by my team, then like I don't get banned. But like if another world crisis happens again, you're easier to find on Google compared to, you know what I mean, the person that's just running ads the whole time. You want to bulletproof yourself.
So like, even like a basic SEO manager, would they like be giving you advice like, oh, make some more content on this because there's a lot of opportunities with these keywords?
Absolutely. So a good SEO manager can make all of the content for the website and do all the blog writing, whilst also, again, and you'll learn this after you hire your first few VAs. I'll be creating a video for you that shows you how to put them and how to organize them into Slack. That way they can actually work together and how often they can catch up. So my guys, our sales team, sales division, and our funnels guys, they catch up every Tuesday and Thursday for 15 minutes. And then every Thursday, our team of like 10 to 15 social media managers, they all hop on a call, 30 minutes, problem solve. This account got banned. Now, it didn't start like that. Initially, just like with any business, whether they're VAs or not, there was ego issues. There was a bit of bureaucracy. It's just the way life goes, but it's human nature. But I'm going to show you how to basically automate part of that. But initially, yes, you'll have to be the one that will kind of be on the call with the two of them, get them to debrief to you. After 3 or 4 months, once that habit is built, they're going to be able to have a bit of a symbiotic relationship. They'll know have each other's phone numbers on WhatsApp, etc.
So like, let's say, how do you go about like with the your social media managers, like they're managing one business, and then do you normally get like one person to do like multiple businesses? Like, what do you do?
Bro, literally, get them to do multiple businesses. The way I incentivize my guys is a bit different because at least for the agency business model, it's different. So what I do is I actually pay them per client that they manage. So we have people like Alvi who probably manages like 20 to 30 accounts, just her. And we have another 10 other people that are like, they want to get like Alvi. So it's inspiring. In your situation, since they're going to be kind of working as part of Clockwork Care, I'd pay them just like either a flat monthly fee for a certain amount of posts per month, or I'd pay them per hour, depending on what their rate is. But since it's just your business, if you're thinking of, all right, you want to do it for this business and maybe like your personal brand and the development side of things,
Yeah.
well, strike a deal with them. Be like, hey, listen, if this goes well for the first month, then I'll give you 2 more accounts and we'll bump up your salary by 25%. Just something like figure out what they would like and then find a middle ground.
Yeah.
It'll make them more loyal to you.
Because that's kind of definitely the main game plan. The main game plan is like MSN developments and my personal brand. But right now I'm just like, all right, just make it work with like Clockwork Care first, just focus on that. And
Mm.
then once that's going, then do those two as well. That's what I'm
Dude,
thinking.
I agree. I agree.
So I feel like with the development stuff, like making content for that, like is going to be easy. Like yeah, and the demand for it. Like with the
Yep.
NDIS stuff, I kind of have to research it a bit. But with the other one, like development, there's no research. I just know. I've got a like good gut feeling like what's going to be like insightful versus what's not. Yeah, yeah. Also, like, so you said like sometimes you've got a VA and then you switch roles. Like, does that happen like quite a bit? Is that something that I should expect? Like, I find that this VA is good and it's actually better at this, or
Um, does it happen a lot now? No. Did it happen a lot even a year ago? At times. Did it happen a lot the year before? 100%. So you just get more discerning the longer you hire and the more people you hire. Because the odds are, like your first 10 hires, they might be B players, but that's also because it might be a B opportunity. The more the opportunity becomes an A opportunity or a C opportunity or A plus opportunity, etc., the more you're able to also attract better talent. Um, so yeah, but for something like social media management, especially on the design side of things, so Facebook, Instagram designs and graphics, like the margin between someone that's maybe a C player and a B player isn't that noticeable until you've given them like a 1, 2 or 3 months or a month. Um, but when you find an A player, like someone that's fast, on the ball, responsive, understands it, I would even go as far as overpaying for people like that because overpaying in our currency is nothing.
hmm. And like, how do you go about like, let's say you take on a VA, like they're good for the first week, or they just suck. Like, what do you do in that scenario? Like, if you want to get rid of them?
Well, one thing you can do before, if it's something like a design and they've shown you their resume and you didn't like it, like you might have already seen this. Have you seen the video on like the questions to ask them in the interview?
I looked into it a bit. I saw the bonus questions that you had.
No
Mm,
stress. So like give that a look. Basically, like after if you've asked those questions, there's a good chance you'll get a pretty good feel
yeah.
for their level of skill. And they'll show you their resume as well. You should always ask for their resume. And you can get them to share their screen, show you examples.
Hmm.
On top of that, to mitigate risk, you can be like, all right, well, listen, I really liked your work. I have one more task for you to decide who I'm going to hire. Create me 3 designs based on the topic of respite care.
Mm.
You have 24 hours. Boom. They send it to you. 2 other people send it to you. The ones that you think did the best, you give them the job. Um, that's what I would do if it's your first time and you're kind of, you know, not concerned, but you're kind of, skeptical and kind of deciding between a few people.
Mm.
Now, once you hire them, and if they're still not performing, I would actually look inward and I'll be like, all right, am I delivering this information correctly? Am I
Instructions.
giving,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because like as skilled as they are, and even if they're really reputable, like it's still our jobs. It's still our jobs as leaders to make sure that things are easy to understand. There's many times, bro, where even earlier today, as I told you, we're scaling. So now the rate in which I am having to grow as a leader every day, like by the end of each day, bro, I'm burnt, like
Mm.
psychologically. But it's good
Yeah.
because that's the price I'm paying for
Mm.
trying to get to a gazillion clients by the end of the year, right? So
Mm.
retracing back to here, oftentimes I might realize, okay, hold on. Out of the whole team you have, all of the Philippine department, which is like 20 of them, maybe I only gave 15 of them really good instructions. I
Mm.
need to double check Slack at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning to see how could I have better delivered the instructions to the other 5, because it might be to the newer 5 people. Have you done a voice message to them? Have you repeated yourself? Dude, you're gonna have to repeat yourself a few times for the first couple of weeks for some of the people on your team.
And like with some of the VAs, like they say like, oh, we work 4 hours. Like, how's that work? Like normally, do they just work like, 9 to 1, or do they just kind of like work throughout the day in like little bits?
Good question. So, um, after you have, once you've, have you put a job ad out yet for a VA? You haven't.
I'm just basically almost there. Like maybe tomorrow, the day after, I would. Yeah.
Easy. By tomorrow or Friday, because we have the same way how you are knocking off each task, we also have like a calendar of content that gets uploaded to Skool and then gets passed on to you guys. So everything that you're getting is also in a Skool account that you'll have access to in the next couple of weeks. So the next batch of videos is going to be how to manage the VA. So we actually will teach you how to get them to log in and log out as employees. So they're going to have a Slack channel that says log in. They'll say log in at 9 a.m. Australian time, log out at 12 p.m. break time, 12 to 1. They even that's the benefit of this. You're actually getting real employees. They're just not in Australia. And obviously the tax, well, at the level that you're at, they're not going to have to worry about tax for them. But for the VA specifically, for us, for the Australians, like you will, because it's a bit different. But like you're going to basically be able to manage them as if they were in your virtual office. So that will come by the end of the week. You'll have a pretty clear understanding of, all right, they're going to check in at this time, check out at this time. They're going to go on the break at this time. And then at the end of this day, they give a report on all of their activities.
So like, do you do that with like all your like VAs, or like do you find like some of them like, you know, you just look at their output?
At the start, I did it with pretty much all of them. But yes, like there's definitely now people that are at leadership positions that they don't have to do that. If I was to give a percentage, I would say, well, everyone from the Philippines right now, except maybe one person still does, including actually we even have people in Europe, even Albin, who's worked with celebs, you know, like he still does it. The only person, in fact, we even have Aussies that do it because, dude, like, I'll share my screen. I'll share my screen so you can see what it looks like, because it's all behavioral patterns. Alrighty. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. So let me go to, let's go to Restaurant Revolution, that subdivision. Daily report. Boom. Julie's in Australia. She's in Sydney. Ariane, Philippines. Mark, Philippines. Albin, Europe. XK, Philippines. John, Philippines. Girly, Philippines. Daryl, Philippines. All of them different, well, majority of them different parts of the world. The only two people that won't log in, quote unquote, is Merlin, who you've met. Merlin's and one, because obviously she's a friend and she's a contractor part-time, bit of a different relationship. And then the second reason, or the second person is Simone. So the copywriter that does copy for me and Ty and other stuff. But again, her main role is to manage my ads. Ads are kind of something, it's a bit finicky. Ads, you know, you have to check once here. If it's running, you can check it again the next day at a random time. But what you'll notice happening is probably once you get to around 10 VAs, which might not happen overnight, obviously, but a year from now, they'll just copy the best behavior from the best performing person. So I would advise all of them to log in, especially once you're starting. And then once you get a rhythm, you can allow necessary flexibility when required. But till then, I would just expect everyone to follow the same rule. Makes it easier.
Yeah. Because like one reason why I ask is because like let's say someone's managing my social media, right? But like I've got one business, there's not that much work. If they're like doing 4 hours, right? I still need them to like, if some like customer like dings on Facebook Messenger to reply to that. So normally, how does that work? Like,
so that's pretty easy. So what you can do is, again, it all comes down to expectation management. So you can be like, hey, listen, these are the working hours. However, I need you to be accessible from X to Y, just in case an inquiry comes in and you can quickly respond. Is that something you are comfortable with? Is that something you are aligned with at this stage of your career? If no, I completely understand, but that's what we're looking for. Does that align with you? And then you leave it with them and you kind of just shut your mouth. So like part of the interview questions is you want to find out what their motivations are, because everyone will tell you this amount of money, love your company, but you really want to ask them, what are you looking for? Does
Yeah.
this align?
Mm-hmm. So like, that's normally something that you kind of need to negotiate. Because if
Yes,
it's like 4 hours, normally they would like check in and check out.
correct. Well, just put yourself in their shoes. Like
Yeah.
they got an international, if you got a job for a company in Hong Kong and you clock in between 9 a.m. Australia, or let's just say 6 p.m. Australia, 5 p.m. Australian time and 9 p.m. Australian time. Like, if no one's giving you any other instruction, you're clocking in, clocking out, collecting that extra money through
Mm.
it's just how it is. So when you think of it from that perspective, but if you also think about it, if it's a high paying job and you're working remotely from Hong Kong, if they're paying you, let's just say as an example, let's just say 200K a year, and you're working 12 to 9, and all they say is, hey, listen, in the morning you don't have to work, but just keep your phone on. If something pops up, you know, let me know or respond real quick. You can have an
Mm-hmm.
automated template. You're probably not going to say no. Like it seems fair enough. So it's all about the frame.
So like, you reckon I should do something like that later down the line? Like, because like, you'd know working hours, but just respond? Because what do you reckon? Do you reckon that can go sideways for someone starting out?
I don't think it'll go sideways. I think your thinking's correct. Like you want to make sure that they are focused on one specific task initially.
Mm.
Um, and the likelihood is, especially for things except for LinkedIn, but for every other social media platform, the likelihood that it's straight away, um, apart from ads, so we're just talking about organic, the likelihood that you're straight away going to be getting people messaging your
Mm,
Facebook and
mm,
Instagram
mm.
page is
Yeah.
relatively low. If it
Mhm.
happens, you'll probably have enough time to get that notification yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
But the benefit of the salesperson, this is again, maybe once you have a feel for the leads and you start calling them with you and your business partner by yourself, and the
Mhm.
quality of the leads starts to improve by month 2, month 3, you might realize at the end of even this 3-month program, you might be like, all right, you know what? Let's let that salesperson rip. Now the leads are slowly becoming more qualified. Let's add someone that's going to be on it in 5 minutes, 24/7. But I wouldn't stress about putting that in the brief for the social media manager. What also will happen is, the irony is, the more work you give them and the more they like you, they'll probably do it out of good grace anyway. I have people like Alvi, bro, will negotiate upsells for our clients
Mm.
in different parts of Australia. Like, oh, Dami, they also want SEO. I told them it will be an extra $1,500 a month. I know
Mm.
it's a bit lower than usual, but can we do that? I'd be like, Alvi, no worries. I'll chuck you the Stripe link. Good on you. And I give her extra commission. I didn't
Yeah,
ask her,
yeah, yeah.
but that took 1 year to build,
Mm.
right? So she's seen the ups, the downs, the spikes, the troughs, the major success, the
Mm.
oh no, New Zealand nearly didn't happen. We lost 3 clients today. How are we gonna? We just
Mm.
lost 10K in a day. But like
Yeah,
she's seen the general trend upwards, so she's incentivized. So you'll build that.
yeah. All right. And like, let's say what I'm trying to get an understanding of is like, you've got Instagram, Facebook. So most of your leads are going to be coming through your landing page. Is that kind of like what we're aiming for?
So when you're running ads, the
Mm-hmm.
goal is to get majority of your leads, yes, through the landing page or through Facebook lead forms. And JJ is going to show you how to set them up. You've probably heard of lead forms before. That might also be applicable to your other business. So it'll be good for you to learn that. A lead form is basically not a survey, but it's a contact us form on Facebook, which you can target people with an ad. So JJ will show you how to split test the lead form and push 3 people through a landing page funnel. Now, the reason why you want to post a lot on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn is so your lead cost isn't going to be as high, short and long term.
Mm-hmm.
Because what most people do is they run ads straight away because they know they're supposed to run ads. But Mark Zuckerberg doesn't know who their business is. The Chinese in TikTok don't know who their business is. There's no digital goodwill. So what you might find is you might get 0 leads. Boom. That's not going to be the case for you because you're being
Mm.
proactive. You're posting. So it's a nice progressive build up, and it works well.
And what I heard from JJ as well is like if your ad like bombs, right? Like, you know, everyone's just scrolling past it, then they're gonna charge you more with the next one. Because like they want people on the platform to stay there. Like even if you're giving them money, like they don't want people like switching platforms because the content is garbage ads. Yeah.
Yes,
That was
correct.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. And like with your like websites and stuff, like do you just mostly make them all inside Go High Level?
Good question. So things like Restaurant Revolution, yes. So like subdivisions of our agency,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. And not only for our clients, but also for me. Now, my main website, which which I have, is built on ClickFunnels. But to be
Mm,
honest, again, my SEO team is actually saying for SEO purposes, we might actually have to redevelop that. But I'm also in a different industry to you. So
mm.
when it comes to your main website, yes, you can build it on Go High Level. Just understand that your main website will have to be more comprehensive naturally because it's a digital brochure. But when it comes to what you want to run lead or add traffic to, trust me, or JJ will tell you in itself, and the maths will show you, you're better off usually running that to a landing page, less decision fatigue. But if you want to use other platforms to create the actual website, you can. But I would ask someone like Sandra, just because, again, 10 years of SEO expertise, like no matter how many clients I've dealt with, that will trump my expertise when it's specifically to websites. But I have a feeling she'll say, you're going to have to do a website that is SEO friendly. Go High Level has its limits when it comes to your website. She's probably going to recommend something like WordPress, something that you can build that's a bit more custom. Um, but yeah, you can even flick her a message on Slack or you can call her, but that one you can probably just message her.
Yeah. Because like I got my main page like on WordPress, and then when I connect the like domain to like Go High Level, it like it basically makes like Go High Level my main kind of like website. It's kind of like making me choose between like one or
Mm.
the other.
There should be the option to create what's called a subdomain.
Hmm.
So, are you familiar with what a subdomain is?
I have, yeah, a bit of an idea.
Yeah. So, like, imagine there's a tree. A subdomain is the tree trunk, and the tree trunk should allow you to branch off to GHL, Go High Level. If you're having issues setting that up, JJ is absolutely the guy. He's done that a gazillion times. So, if you're facing issues, he can 95% resolve that.
Yeah, I think I'll ask him because when JJ was doing it, it like was all right. These are just technical things, I guess. Yeah,
Mm.
no worries.
Good stuff though, bro. Like these are the things you'll be surprised that stump so many business owners, and then they give up on a website for like a year because they're like, "Oh, we're running Google ads and Facebook ads to the website, but nothing's come through, and I don't know how to connect it, and the website guy doesn't know what he's doing, and they just give up. And 12 months, their website goes untouched, their Google reviews go down. So what you're doing is very proactive, deep thinking that again makes it easier for kind of the wheelbarrow to roll.
And a lot of the time, these questions like only come like when you start doing it. Like it's like, oh yeah, that's easy, and then when you start doing it, that's when you get like you know questions.
Yes,
So now I've been playing around with Go High Level a bit,
nice.
and it's got like a lot of stuff you can do. Yeah, it's pretty
Dude, you
cool.
can use it for so many of your businesses, bro. It's ridiculous.
And like you can make like a SaaS in there and like resell it.
Yes. Yep.
Mm,
A lot of agency guys do that um, across the world, in Australia, Europe, um, US, definitely. US is big with that, with the Go High Level SaaS resale. I've been recommended to do it. Simone recommended I do that because of the brand they have in Australia. But
mm,
again, it's like how you want to focus on mastering one or two or three services
yeah.
first. Like
Mm,
if I'm to now start cold calling and running ads for that, would it be maybe it will make an extra 10, 20K a month in a couple months. But what if I spent majority of this year just building out Restaurant Revolution, one for NDIS?
yep.
Obviously, mega community consulting is growing pretty quickly, growing my personal brand. What if I was just to max that out, get that to like 100, 300 clients, and then I can hire someone early next year just to focus on mastering that product instead of my brain being 10% of that product because then I'm not the best leader. So yeah,
Mm.
each to their own.
Also, like with mega communities, like I was trying to explain to someone the other day, like, oh, mega communities is good. Like basically my dad, right? Like we should do more of that, yeah. And I couldn't
Yeah.
actually explain like what it is. Like Who would be inside of it?
Yep. So who would be inside of your mega community? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Sure. So this is the coined definition, and I'll send you a video where I actually go in depth into how mega communities are created, how KSI and Logan Paul have created one, and that's the easiest textbook one to like look at. But in your industry, mega communities are a group of individuals, fans, customers, clients, in your situation, participants that want to work with you and your dad and your uncle, and
Mhm.
then the business instead of just your business. Because what happens is most providers are just promoting their business online. So there's no personal human touch. So even what JJ is going to be running you through with the ads is obviously, and I know that you have your own personal brand, so he'll help you find creative solutions around that. But you
Mm.
basically want to attach a very personal touch to the ads and to the front end. So then when people come in, they're thinking they're coming in to speak to your uncle or your dad or you, but they're actually coming in to now your business's backend through you.
Mhm.
It's the same with my ads. You see the ones where
Mhm.
the billionaires have me tied up. What they don't want you to know is that my face. I'm
Mm.
like
Mm.
it's Ty Lopez, bro, does the same thing. Sabri Subi, like there's an NDIS company in Perth. What's it called? I think it's Charles Disability Services. Again,
Mhm.
guy's face, slow voice. It's boring. But
Mm.
bro, like a lot of the NDIS providers, when you see their ads, the good ones, it's an old white guy with glasses that gives the mystique of experience. Bro, it's just human nature. We make assumptions. So you got to tap into that. And that's why mega communities are so powerful. If you look at KSI and Logan Paul, dude, no ad spend,
Mhm.
just two mega brands. And under each brand, what was KSI when me and you were when you were in school and I was in school? KSI was the FIFA guy. Then he was the Insta
Yeah.
guy. Then he was the guy doing pranks. Dude, how many different YouTube videos, content formats, YouTube channels? Then it went to his musician. Then he started doing fighting. How many? That's already 15 communities under just KSI. Logan Paul, same thing. Vine, TikTok, YouTube, podcast. That's another 10, 15 communities. What did they do? They collabed, made a mega community, called it Prime. Of course, it made what? Over 9 figures. You get what I'm saying? So, like,
Mm.
it's completely changed the way I look to marketing long term. And that's why for things like Kosa, I've been getting told since last year, sell merch, sell merch. And I'm like, hold on, that's exactly why we're trying to build more content formats around all of
Mm.
Asia Pacific. Because we
Mm.
already can ask for something really big. We've already been approached for a buyout, as I've told you. I have to
Mm.
blow that bit out. But you get what I'm saying? Like these are the results when you're able to think, all right, this part of Melbourne and eventually Australia is in love partially with the personalities and the vibe associated with Clockwork Care. How can we at least learn more about these guys? That's where you're opting for.
Like, I think what I didn't understand is like with communities. So like I think what I normally think straight away when I think community is like Facebook like groups. So like what's like a community? Like is it like a intangible thing or like or can it be broken down into like oh this platform group? Yeah.
Yep. So it's both, but I'll give you a clear example. If you have 3 Instagram accounts and each of them have different services that you specialize in, we're not talking about right now. We're talking about down the track.
Mm-hmm.
One is, as an example, and I know you're not doing this. One is SIL,
Mm-hmm.
one is respite care,
Yep.
one is plan managed, and each page has 1,000 followers. But
Mm-hmm.
all of them redirect to your website. For the sake of this example, your website is the mega community, but those 3 Instagram pages are mini communities. KSI has a gazillion mini communities. Quasar has 10 to 15 mini communities, but the main YouTube channel is the mega community. So it doesn't have to be just a Facebook group. Yes, that's good as well. Me building the Skool group on the back end of my agency, that is, yes, another uh, mini community. But the irony is the mega community is clientele boosters, the agency and consultancy. Whether it's a client, whether it's someone that I'm giving consultancy to, whether it's someone that actually just pays $30 on one of our different content funnels from like a small motivational page, and they just
Mm-hmm.
learned how to like run an ad for the first time. That's all, dude. Like, I'll give you the easiest example. What's the end result? Data. If you
Mm-hmm.
have 10,000 emails, Manny, by the end of the year, brother, of people that can potentially want to work with you, you've built a community. because you can move them to anywhere you want to go. Dude, remember how we talked in person on Friday about like long-term plays, things we want to do after we do our initial businesses? And I was
Yeah.
like, I want to get into X and Y industry. I'm going to have at least 500,000 emails by the time I'm 27.
Yeah.
Right? Now that's really big thinking, right? But like that's how you build, whether it's an NDIS business, whether it's a development company, you're actually thinking from a data perspective. That is why mega communities are important. Logan Paul and KSI have millions, multi-millions of emails, phone numbers, data that they can just not only retarget with email, but also put into ads. Fire. Not only put into ads, also find on YouTube, algorithm. Because also the more familiar, again, your SEO is, the easier you are to find. So it's kind of a domino effect. The more data you can collect on a massive group of people, but you got to divide to conquer. Business mirrors war strategy. It's in the 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene. All you're doing by mini communities and mega communities is you're literally mimicking war digitally. That's all it is.
So like with Kasai, like what would be the communities for that?
So the mini communities are, remember, we go to each city. So we now have emails of people in Melbourne, a lot of the people that love, clout or like want to be on the show in Melbourne. And then what people don't know is another mini community is actually the button. So on the front end, we have a new page for the button, like that kind
Yeah,
of stuff
yeah.
as you've seen. But the crazy part was when we were recording the button in August of last year or September, we actually had people going up to different people saying, are you from Kosa or are you from the button? Because I'm from the button. I saw you on Kosa. And like, I was like, wow, this actually worked like so cleanly because on the back end, dude, it's all under Kosa Central. All of it. All of it. Like Kosa Central NZ, which is basically, that's why we do a season in each city. Season 1 was Melbourne, season 2 was Sydney, season 3 Gold Coast, season 4 was New Zealand. Season 5 is you'll see it anyway. It'll be announced in the next 3-4 weeks. But by the end of the year or early next year, dude, all of Asia Pacific should have its own Corsair derivative. So the mini communities for us are cities and then content formats. So there's a content format of
Okay.
people that just love real life Tinder, and there's a content format of people that just love the political stuff like LGBTQ plus versus Christians. We tapped into the millennials there instead of just Gen Z. We didn't have that before. We broke into the Gen Z, the millennials again when we did Australians versus Andrew Tate, because that was really risky back in the time because he was at his peak of popularity. So some people just want the political, more like relaxed, serious. Some people love the dating stuff. Some people just like the easygoing, like based on outfits. Each content format also attracts different people around the world in APAC. So if we now want to push a product to people that are fashion centric, no worries. We have data on which part of the world like those episodes. But that's me being a bit of a
Okay.
nerd there. Do you get what I'm saying?
So like you're changing your service based on like different communities, like it just kind of helps you figure out, all right, this community might not like this service, so I'll give them this
Yes.
service. But you can only know that once you've determined which community they're in.
Yep. Just give me 1 second, man. So I'm just going to
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
the team,
No worries.
hey guys, give me 15 minutes, please. Sorry, as you were saying?
Yeah, because why I'm asking you is because it's just like a completely like different way of thinking. Like it's just
Yeah.
I've got like no your brain learns by making connections, right? Basically, I've got like I don't have that many connections to it, so that I'm trying to develop those connections and then better understanding. So I'm just trying to think in terms of like real estate. So like rather than boxing myself into like one area, like I could just make one community for like let's say new houses in Melbourne, or like just like the new houses you see in Tani, whatever, like make some kind of community for that where I give like advice on that. Because that's a
Yes.
completely different thing from like making townhouses in like Newport, right? So that would be a separate community. And then maybe a
Well,
separate, yeah.
well, the thing is, mastery, whatever you do, still master 1 or 2 or 3 things first.
Sure.
Mastery, in my opinion, is okay. I'll give you an example. Um, with Quasar, our trademark video was real life Tinder swiping. So what did we do? We ran that play in every city, every country
Mm.
now as well. But once that reached a certain level of mastery, we're like, all right, guys, I think we're ready to try the button. Let's do it. Fortunately, that worked well. So we're going to do that again later this year. Once we've mastered the button, we're going to do now something else that's very daring. That's one of one. But when it comes to reading a mega community, you need many mini communities underneath it. Otherwise, the mega community is not going to be mega. So when it comes to what you're after with the building townhouses, etc., you can still do those services and still, you know, render those outputs. But what you want to, if you're thinking of building a personal brand, what I would do is I would find a way to completely be the authority in a location, rinse it. Now you could be very, because you're exceptionally skilled in this area. It could take you 3 months to just dominate that area in terms of being that go-to person, and you might have a certain number of contacts that you want that signifies that you've dominated it. It might be, all right, I've been able to reach out to, as an example, 1,000 contacts. Out of those 1,000 people, you put all of them in the Go High Level landing page that's for the other business.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 1,000, 100 had some sort of, they clicked on the emails. Some of them positively responded. 50 of them positively responded. Out of those 50 positive responses, you ended up working with 3 to 5. All right, you consider that as ticked off. And now you can have someone writing the emails that just nurtures and warms that audience for Point Cook. You then run that same play in Newport, that same play in Werribee, that same play. Then you're like, you know what? Great, that's already worked. Now it's time to maybe create a little monopoly, a mega community in the
Mm.
West. I'm just going to now rebrand this instead of as the Point Cook one. I'm going to make this applicable for all of the West, right? That's what I've done with my agency, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So that the hardest part, most agencies, I'll give you a statistic. Most agencies usually will never get past 15 to 20 clients ever. So what helped me break that when I was 22, maybe freshly 23, is I was like, all right, I just want to be like the West Side restaurant or like HVAC, just the West Side marketer.
Mm-hmm.
And now like boom, like that's like for most of a lot of the most well-known restaurants in Melbourne, now particularly in the West as well, have at least had some sort of contact with me or have been my client at some point. Whether they're in Altona, whether they're in Werribee, whether they're Jai Ho Indian Restaurant in Hoppers, whether it's Afghan Kebab in Werribee,
Mm.
like whether it's the ones, it's just like a lot of these names. Like, oh, I've heard of Dami. Oh, I used to work with him. Oh, I still work with him. Perfect. Then I used that as leverage and I took it to the east side. I called. Hey, listen, it's Dami here from Clientele Boosters. Yeah, you know, listen, we have a subdivision called Restaurant Revolution. We're really one in the West, but we're expanding to the east side. Just want to put it in front of you for 5 minutes, see if it makes sense to you. How's tomorrow evening? Boom, rock up. They say yes or no, it doesn't matter. The goal is to take over the east, to the north, to the south. And now, boom, I can call someone in Sydney. Hey, listen, Dami, listen, we've grown. We're probably one of the most well-known restaurant marketing subdivisions in all of Melbourne. So we're trying to branch out into Sydney. But dude, that's why my main play for this year is I just want to, with everything that I'm doing, take over Australia. Marketing wise, that's why I'm willing to spend. I told you I'm probably going to buy an Instagram account, like 100K followers. I'm just in negotiations at the moment with a few options. Brand it. And like hopefully by the time I'm 25, be like that, one of the authorities in this side of the world for a lot of things, marketing, creative direction. And then what would be the next play, bro? US, right? It's just, that's how you build a mini community and mega community. But it takes a lot more strategy than the emotionalism of, I have a business, I just want everyone. Of course, get everyone, but see if you can, whilst you're going after everyone, strategically cut slices. Again, like the more, if I'm not sure if you've read, you've heard of Robert Greene, right?
I think like we've read through like different people, but we've kind of come to the same like kind of conclusion, which is like pick your niche and just
Yeah,
become the best at it. Because I'm like, even though you didn't read 0 to 1, whatever, right? It just feels like that you're saying the same kind of principles because
I
they
gotta
work.
read this book, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. So I'm guessing like Robert Greene probably says something like that in his war book, which is like conquer one area and then slowly like expand. Is it something like
Robert,
that?
he has. He's also the guy that wrote the 48 Laws of
Yeah,
Power,
yeah.
33. So like he's written Laws of Seduction. There's many books that he's written, and I wouldn't even necessarily have to read them. You could just go on ChatGPT type up like what are the lessons from this book. But he goes into the specifics in the 33 strategies of war of just how war has worked throughout history. And it's uncanny how much it really does resemble
applies to
business.
life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like, let's say we've got this big goal, right? You know, we want to, you know, build your fashion brand or whatever, build apartments for me, right? Like, I always like to also break things down to like systems and processes, whatever. So like,
Yep.
for you, like, what do you normally do? Like, do you have like a goal, like each day I want to call this many people? Is that normally what you do? Because I know you showed your calendar
Yeah.
for a bit, and I think it was like maybe like 100 calls per day.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. Like succinctly, yes, I'll have a certain amount of calls I need to make a day just to make sure that I'm always putting in the inputs required.
Yeah.
But there's so many things I track. Like I'll track because I have so much admin to do now as well. Like one thing I probably will need to hire, probably once we hit maybe 80 to 100 clients. So hopefully in the next couple of months is someone that just does like a lot of the admin for me because I've already offloaded a lot of it, but I need someone else to just step in and do some of the other admin
You need a
stuff.
secretary, basically.
Probably, bro.
Yeah.
Probably. But in terms of the inputs for me, they're going to be different to your inputs because my inputs are at the end of the day, like if we're at, as an example, if we're at 67 clients, the goal this week was to get to 70. If our average churn every month is 8 to 9%, so that means if we close 10 clients in a month and maybe just under one will leave, or if one leaves, all right, how can we make sure that we're always in a significant surplus so we can hit that goal by end of the year to get to 1 to 300? So there's many layers, but the main things that I track, and I'll put this in the videos as well, is retention rate, new clients. There's two other things as well. I have to double check this, but there's four main things that I track at the start of every week. And then the rest of the week is basically the domino triple effect of maintaining those four things. And I'll find them and I'll send them to you.
Yeah. Because I'm like learning from Alex from Mosey as well. And he says like,
He's a G.
Yeah, go through your contacts, whatever, like, and then make 100 calls per day or like reach out to 100 people. So I was thinking, yeah, that kind of makes more sense. Like, if I just do that every day, like, that's a better like way to, measure where I've put in the work. Because, you might
100.
not reach your goal. Like, you can't let that like shatter you. As long as you put in the work, then that's all right. That's all good.
Manny, 1,000,000%. You're so right. And yeah, no, by all means, please, like, I'd establish a consistent pattern where you're going to put in X amount of inputs per day because it's easier to track. For the first week, if you hit up, even if it's a smaller goal for a second, let's just say 50 people a day, and that's over 5 days, 250 people. You're going to have metrics and new data that you didn't have before. So out of those 250 people, all right, 10 of them actually, 10% of them actually connected on the phone. As an example, that's 25 people. Out of those 25 people, 12 of them said, all right, check me an email, and 3 of them booked an appointment. Awesome. Now, if you increase that amount by 25%, then it's unreasonable to assume that 3 wouldn't grow to 5 or 6 booked appointments. So, dude, like absolutely, especially like once JJ maybe even shares you some of how LinkedIn Navigator works, you'll be the one to hop on the phone, like find these guys, call them, even just start. That's something I'll start straight away, just so you can get used to that input volume.
This will be like the last question, but like
right.
I heard like you said like you didn't like cold calling for a bit, so you did sales. Like, how do you get over that? Like just volume, like.
Dude, yeah, volume, man, exposure therapy, like. Dude, no one, like the biggest, I think, and I have to double check this, but at least 5 years ago, the biggest fear in the world was speaking in front of a public stage. And then the second one was like, not arachnophobia, which is spiders, but I think it was something else, like drowning or something like that. But like, how crazy is that? So what happens is if that's the biggest fear in the world, and you're one of the billions of people on earth that is comfortable being uncomfortable doing that consistently, then how much of a distance is it between you and everyone else? Like most agencies, again, they can't cross over 20 clients, no worries. Most agencies also rely solely on either word of mouth or ads. So like, think about it. I'm running ads. I've got like 5 to 7 different monetization styles just in the agency, not in my other businesses at the moment, just talking solely the agency we're talking. And I'm doing the SEO and all that, putting out videos that I also, I've kind of gotten used to putting out videos. I like it now. I didn't really like it at the start. Putting out videos, and I'm cold calling, which is the thing that people hate to do the most. How much more lethal am I and are you compared to the business owner in the NDIS sector or the agency owner that just relies on emailing or running ads? So when the ads doesn't work, oh, well, let's rely on word of mouth because the government subsidizes the business. Like that's a very it's not a winning mindset, and winning's hard, bro. Business is hard, really hard, but that's the good thing about it. It's hard. So think of it like every time it gets harder, that's where someone quit. So like things are tough for me right now because we're growing and there's so much different managerial things. Every day is really hard, but like I love that I can just sit down, we chopped it up, ate food. I can be in the moment with you and detached from the difficulty that I might have faced while I was walking to you, because I'm like, it's what I signed up for. I know that someone would have quit at this level. You're going to feel, even as you start, you might be like, oh, like I'm doing all this. I can see the wheels turning. I got leads coming in. Da, 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 da. None of these guys want to pick me over the next person because they've got more of a name. Perfect, bro. That's why most people can't survive in NDIS. That's a blessing.
All right, man. I'll let you go, but thanks heaps, bro. Like, I learned a lot. Yeah. And next time
brother.
will be maybe even more questions.
Bro, you can even message me in between them, but dude, like if it feels a bit overwhelming, you're in the right spot. Like that's how it's supposed to feel. No one expects you to have all the answers, bro.
No worries, brother. All right. See you, man. Have a good one.
Brother. Take care.
See you, buddy.